Family Weekend. I know that's a special weekend every year. Talk about Family Weekend a little bit.
Sure. Obviously for those of us that have been here a long time, it always symbolizes something else. But, and we talked a little bit about Scott and his impact in the program yesterday. But, for these guys that currently play at Northwest, nobody knew Coach Boswick. And so what it's really kind of morphed itself into is somebody in each of their families was instrumental in getting them here to Northwest Missouri State and helping them achieve the success that they've had to this point in their life. And so it's really trying to take the values and things that Scott and his family were all about and push it back into our kids and their own families. And so that was really the central message yesterday. With that instrumental thing, though, Scott was one of those guys for you, I know. Can you talk about his impact on your coaching career and putting you where you are today? Yeah, he was kind of like a big brother to me. It was somebody that he was the DC when I came in as a GA, and I was actually on the opposite side of the ball. He and Coach Tier were the ones that hired me back to come back here in 2004. I can remember I left the Quad Cities in spring of 2004, and my wife was 6.5 months pregnant, and I literally stayed in Scott's basement for 3 months to go through spring ball and that stuff before we got down here and moved in July. So we had a really, really close relationship, and somebody that's always significant to me.
Coach, watching the tape from this past week in Joplin, what did you guys do that you really liked that kind of came off right off the board, right off the bat?
Well, everything began. The emphasis the week in practice was to have a good week of practice and prepare like we were going to play. We wanted to start fast on both sides of the ball. We accomplished that goal. We went 3 and out in our first series defensively and went right down the field and scored. We talked about not letting our foot off the gas, and I felt like we didn't let our foot off the gas. We just continued to play and push on both sides of the football, so it was good to see. We discussed that it was, I did this way back in camp. I played down in Joplin early in the year enough that it was going to be hot. It was hot. Locker room accommodations aren't the best. They weren't the best, but those were things that we don't control. And what we were going to be able to control is what we did on the field, and I thought we executed well.
John, just coming out, starting fast like you guys did, and Coach just said, defense is doing their thing. You guys are putting up points on the other end. Just how good did that feel?
Huge. We talk about all the time momentum. Momentum was huge. Defense getting that 3 and out, and offense building off of that and going out there. And I think we scored in like 3 plays. So yeah.
Coach, you got me through 74 passes last week.
Yep.
What's the message to the defensive backs this week and trying to slow him down, and then the common kid too as well?
Yeah, they're Emporia State. They're going to throw the football. And where the game is going to dictate how many times they throw it. I feel like over time, their run game has become more established than when they first started with Coach Higgins. But I've said this for years now. I think he does as good of a job as anybody in the league offensively. And so we just have to be prepared. I think we've got a good plan. Now it's just going to be about what's our preparation look like? What adjustments are we going to make in game? To try and contain their offense.
They've always had that offense, but it seems like this year their defense has really ramped up from where it maybe has been in years past, especially against Pitt. What have you seen from that side of the ball and what they're doing on the defensive side? Yeah, I think the biggest thing that they're doing defensively, and I've watched it a decent amount over the last 2 days, is they're winning on third down. I can't remember the statistic, but it's like 12 of 65 on third down, so they're getting themselves off the field. And anytime you can do that, you got to feel good at what you're doing defensively. They're basing themselves out of 3 down. They blitzed some, but they're playing really hard. They're not giving up big plays, and so we're gonna have our hands full.
John, I'll ask kind of you the same thing. What have you seen from Emporia State on film so far that you guys are really kind of preparing for this week?
Like Coach said, they're well coached, but they got 3 down linemen. They're dropping 8. We're going to take what they give us. If they want to do that, we'll run the ball. If they want to load the box, we'll pass the ball. So that's really the game plan for us, and then we need to execute.
John, I talked to Eric Richardson about it on Saturday, but it seems like the wide receiving core, you were kind of that main returner coming in with experience, but it seems like everybody's kind of shared that burden and really stepped up kind of around you. Talk a little bit about what you guys bring as a core and how you guys have been so successful this year.
Yeah, the receiver group, we're a really unselfish group. We got a chip on our shoulder. We want to bring it every game. We believe we can create big explosives in every game we play, and we want to help this offense win games. And then as an offense, we want to take the pressure off the defense, especially in this game. If we can hold the ball longer, keep more possession longer, we can give that defense some fresh legs to get in there and get more 3-and-outs.
Chris kind of got his feet wet for the first time against Emporia last year, and now obviously playing a lot different, has grown a lot since that point. What have you seen from Chris and his growth and kind of taking it to the next level?
Whole different Chris. Don't even really talk about last year. The dude's slinging it right now. He's got the keys to the car, and we got his back fully.
The one thing is I just think that taking those 1 and 2 reps, all spring long, all fall camp, you're starting to see the transformation, and he's just starting to really grasp the offense in its totality, and he's distributing the ball well. I mean, one of my biggest challenges as a defensive coordinator, and you've seen it the last 2 weeks, I think he hit 13 different receivers against Fort Hays State and 11 different receivers against Missouri Southern, and I think that's a credit to these guys. Number one, that it's a really unselfish group. They don't care who gets the credit as long as we're continuing to execute what we need to execute, but it creates problems in the sense of who do you want to take away. And Chris's ability to read the field and see things, we don't have a primary target. We don't have a secondary target. We have guys that we trust that we put them in the situations and they execute.
Rich, we talked about Gundy a second ago, but Tyler Common really makes that offense go. You've seen him a lot over the years, obviously. One of the best receivers in the country. Just what makes him difficult to deal with? Just
his size, his ability to play physical, but also create space for himself. He's got great hands. Coach Higgins does a great job of putting him in leverage advantage situations against DBs, and more times than not he wins. So, but they've got a full complement of receivers, and they spread the ball around as well. So, we're going to have to play great team defense.
Good. Sweet. Appreciate it.